This is me. This is my beloved wife, Sylvia. This is Sylvia's idea of sailing. This is my dream of sailing and my hope of circumnavigating the globe as a retirement project in 2029. This is Sylvia's reaction to that idea. I am on a 6-year quest to convince Sylvia that a circumnavigation is a wonderful adventure, but the clock is ticking, so join me as I search for the perfect yacht that Sylvia will love, and get all your ladies to subscribe and cheer Sylvia on in the comments. Welcome back to Naval Gazing at Camp David. This week, by special request of Kristen and her husband, who I'm told makes her watch episodes every Saturday and Sunday morning, gold star for hubby, we are heading to the yards of Fountaine Pajot for a full tour of a yacht that I've been dying to get on board ever since its recent release, the Fountaine Pajot Aura 51. Today, we will 1. Review its specifications, pricing, and layout against 3 similar new vessels. 2. Do a full tour asking what would Sylvia say. 3. Naval gaze at an innovation that might just make life aboard a little bit easier. 4. Have a look at the used market for 3 to 5-year-old pre-owned comparables. And 5. Give it a Dave score and compare the result with all our previously reviewed yachts. As always, all this fun will be sandwiched between a pairing of wine and a work of art from the same region as the guest yacht, in an effort to capture the culture and people who gave birth to these wonderful vessels. Waves, wine, art, and ideas. What a civilized way to spend 30 minutes, so let's get going. From high above Vancouver, we head southeast down the Americas to Argentina and the home of last week's guest yacht, the Antares 44H. From here, we head northeast across the Atlantic to the western shores of France and the yards of Fountaine Pajot and this week's yacht, the innovative Aura 51. Finally, we hop a little southeast again to the vineyards of Iguagal and our wine pairing, Iguagal Côtes de Rhône Rouge 2019. The Gagal family owns some of the most hallowed vineyards in the Rhône Valley and the world, and makes some of the most sought-after wines in the world. The Gagal domain was founded in 1946 by Anthony Gagal in Ampias, a small ancient village at the heart of the Côte de Roté appellation. It's overlooked by unique vineyards where vines and wine have been celebrated for over 2,400 years. Following his arrival in 1924 at the age of 14, the founder went on to make wine for 67 vintages in the Côte de Roté and, at the beginning of his career, took part in the development of the Vidal Fleury establishment. The soils are varied among the 80 growers that Gagal consistently works with, consistently maintaining sedimentary limestone and granite soils with many pebbles and alluvial deposits. The average yield is around 2.2 to 2.5 tons per acre, and the average age of the vines is 35 years. The wine experiences a traditional temperature-controlled fermentation and long maceration. Gagal ages their Côte de Rhône Rouge for 18 months in oak barrels. This expensive process results in a wine of unusual complexity with substantial and generous palate. 2019 is another excellent vintage for the Rhône Valley, with exceptional potential quality in both the north and south. A dry spring was followed by a moderate summer featuring 3 distinct heat spikes. Harvest occurred normally in mid-September. The grapes were ripe and concentrated with excellent natural acidity, and the wines are rich but balanced and expressive. Another superb vintage for the region. Deep and dark red on the nose, intensely aromatic with black fruits and spices. The palate is full, round, and sexy. Round and smooth tannins present through the full-bodied, ample wine. Overall, a complete wine with a long finish with elegance and finesse, accompanying the abundance of fruit and well-balanced tannins. Oh, you're going to enjoy that. Let's go have a look at that boat. Cheers. Having a look at this boat, she is really handsome. She's got a beautiful profile and has maintained that even though she's got a flying lounge up top there. She's got a very nice central bulkhead mounted helm so that you can communicate with both the upper and lower. And of course, that full walk around three-sided berth, as well as this beautiful hydraulic dinghy lift and swim platform. All features that really set this apart. Not to mention that wonderful integrated solar. Finally, the manufacturers are starting to integrate. Balance has done it very nicely, and certainly Lagoon started, and Fountaine Pajot really did it well here with a full 2 kilowatts on this vessel. But you can see from every angle, she is a handsome boat with those plumb bows. We also have several shots here of the full electric version. So Fountaine Pajot getting quite innovative, offering a full electric version of this vessel as well. But I mean, she's got everything that you'd really want, especially with that full three-sided walk-around berth that they've managed to do while maintaining decent specifications and performance. Looking at our comparatives this week, we're comparing the Fountaine Pajot Aura 51 with the Portofino 47. Remember, that's an aluminum vessel being built out of Dubai and is yet to launch the first one. The wonderful Leopard 50, which I love, the Aura 51, the Bali 4.8, and the Neil 52. You can see, looking at their profiles here, that Aura 51 really does have the most attractive profile of the bunch, and quite a significant sail area. The only one really beating it out would be the Neil 52 and the Leopard 50 just by a hair. The Portofino 47 is next at 141 square meters, and the lowest of the bunch is the Bali at 128. Heading down onto the cabin top here, looking across, you can see the Portofino has a fly lounge. I believe the 47 now is offered with simple fly lounge and mid-level bulkhead-mounted helm, as well as an option for a full fly bridge. The Leopard, again, has that mid-bulkhead-mounted helm and a beautiful fly bridge with a wonderful sun pad. The Aura 51, same thing, mid-level helm, bulkhead-mounted, beautiful fly bridge and sun pad. Bali 48, full fly bridge, so it does isolate you from the decks below, but certainly gives you a lot of play space up there. And the Neil 52, again, they have retained a very nice fly lounge and full sun pad with a really nice ergonomically designed, updated mid-level bulkhead-mounted helm. Heading into the saloons, looking across, you can see, of course, you've got the Neil, which really jumps out at you, but do recall you have a main deck master berth there, which is fantastic as far as I'm concerned. They've redone the layout of the main floor and, to me, really given it a sense of massive space, but it is a little deceptive in what you're seeing there. Although I think probably square footage, they still have it on the bunch, save for the Bali 4.8 with its back swiveling door that turns, so they utilize the entire main floor for both galley and saloon and cockpit, while retaining something of an aft settee there outside. So there's something of an aft cockpit, but bear in mind they have that massive forward solid deck and a forward door into it, which I absolutely love. Aura 51, they have done a fantastic job. They have a separated aft cockpit, which I prefer. Keeps all the suntan lotion on the outside furniture, not the inside. Massive doors that give you a full open air experience into the saloon. A very, very large saloon. I mean, you can see how big that is. And what I really love about it is they have both an island counter And they have a settee, an L-shaped settee with the dining table. And then they have a really cute little angular settee there in the very front so that I don't have to always be sitting at the dining table when I'm relaxing. I really like that. They have a faux front cockpit, but they do have a little teak out there, a little table and whatnot. There's no access from the saloon out, and that's the only detractor there. They also have external access, as you can see at the very aft, external access into the berths in the aft section, whether those be the full maestro, full hull maestro, half hull maestros, or the various configurations. Leopard 50, classic layout, fabulous, massive saloon cockpit in the aft, very nicely laid out saloon, very functional. Bearing in mind the massive use of this in the charter industry. Nice forward facing nav station and one of the, well, in my opinion, the best forward cockpit in the business with a full door access through. So they really have, a lot going on for them. Portofino 47, crossing our fingers that these guys actually come to market at the price point on the specs that they promised here and with quality that the renders seem to imply, because wow, this thing has it all. The only thing it doesn't have that the Lagoon has is that forward cockpit is not as sheltered as the Lagoon, as the Leopard. The Leopard has managed to create a lovely roof over the forward cockpit with a retracting see-through glass sunroof, really quite something. But the Portofino has the full hydraulic aft swim platform. It has external aft access into the aft heads in the hulls, which allows you to use those as a wet room if you're taking your foulies off or your scuba gear or whatever without dragging it in. Fabulous layout. Really, really nice cockpit, aft cockpit area with integrated barbecues and everything in there. Beautifully laid out saloon. Lots of space there. You can see it. Forward door to a full forward cockpit. And bear in mind, this is all in robust aluminum. So very, very exciting. Looking across at the actual weights of these vessels. The one in the lead, believe it or not, is the Bali at 13.4 tons. Oh, sorry. It's the Neil 52 at 12.6 tons, which is extraordinary considering the size of that platform. Then it's the Bali at 13.4 tons. Then it's the aluminum Portofino 47 at 16.5 tons, the Aura 51 at 18.1 tons, and the Leopard 50, the big girl, at 20.6 tons. Okay, heading into the accommodations. Now, this is where things get very, very interesting. So, you all know that in order to get Sylvia on board, my best bet is to definitely have a three-sided walk-around master berth. And this is what excited me about the Aura 51. Look at this full hull Maestro on the Aura 51. A massive layout on the port side hull with full three-sided access to that berth. External access out the aft, internal access into the saloon, massive, massive forward double sink head with that epic side-mounted shower that they perfected and a separate toilet area. Just a fantastic master suite. And look at all the storage. You got everything that Sylvia could possibly love. On the other hull, you've got three full berths. One in the aft, which is accessible from the outside. The other two are accessible from the inside. And of the three, one is a full three-sided access. Now, Bali, again, they have something almost as spectacular. Again, full three-sided, beautiful master hull there. Really epic. But the Bali isn't, quite honestly, as pretty, obviously, as the Aura 51. It has a whole bunch of really cool things, but if you're looking for sexy, the Aura 51 takes it there, I think. The Neil 52, what they've done here is absolutely exceptional on the second generation. They've taken a lesson out of their power tries, and they've thrown the the head and washroom area for the master suite into the starboard hull. You then walk all the way through the shower area at the fore there into the forepeak, which is a full dedicated laundry room. You can go into, if you're in a really nasty anchorage, you can move your sleep time into the center hull, into that double bed right low centrally in the boat, and that'll be the best place of any boat you could ever sleep. Go over to the port side hull, and here you can have a guest room and either a forepeak bed or turn that forepeak into a smart room where you can put in a workshop or whatever you want in there. I mean, you've got oodles of space, oodles of storage. This is an incredible adventure platform. The Leopard 50, love it. They again pioneered the smart room in the port side hull forward. I wish that they had offered a full starboard side master. And actually gone with more of a balanced format where they turned that athwartship in the bow there into the main area and the forepeak into an accessible walk-in closet and then all the rest of it back. Because, you know, they've done a nice job. Your master's okay, but it's not spectacular. Not like the Aura 51, not like the Bally 48, you know, not like any of these boats that have a full hull master. But it's nicely done. Little, you know, the access up the sides of that owner's suite on the starboard aft is limited. I mean, I can get up there, but it's not like a full three side. And Sylvia take one look at it and probably go, "Ooh, that's tight," but I could convince her of it. The Portofino 47, again, this thing promises so much. My fingers are absolutely crossed that they deliver, because you see what they've done in the port side hull? Full master hull with balanced style forward, three side, full access, athwartship, walk-in closet in the front, aft bathroom with aft bathroom access out the back sugar scoop. I mean, that's something nobody else has, and it is a spectacular option in a boat of this size. And again, remember, this is all going to be in aluminum, so cross our fingers they come through. Okay, diving into the numbers, we're going to look across the top line here. And as you can see, the Leopard 50 is the most economical just by a hair at $776,892. That's $850,000 US. Portofino next at $861,200 US. Then we've got the Bally at $929,988, so $1 million US. And then you've got the Neil at $1,035,000, and the Fountaine Pajot is at the top of the pile by a fairly significant margin at basically $1.15 million US. Heading into the numbers here, length overall, it's the Fountaine Pajot at 52. Waterline length, again, the Fountaine Pajot. Beam is going to be the of course, the Neil at 28.87, but among the comparables, it would be the Portofino at 27. Draft, it's the Portofino tied with the Fountaine Pajot at basically 4.36 feet. Bridge deck clearance. I only found them for the Leopard and the Fountaine Pajot. This is a bit of a mystery number that you don't find readily, but it's the Fountaine Pajot at a very healthy 5.43 feet or 1.66 meters. The overall lightship we already identified is the Neil at 13.8 ton. And then the actual payload capacity, again, little challenging to find. I found it for the Leopard, which is 11,905 pounds. The Aura 51 didn't have that. And then the Bally has a whopping 18,000 pound capacity, and the Neil has 13,008. Upwind sail area, it's the Neil at 173 square meters or 1,862 square feet. And down in the engine area of the bunch, it's the Fountaine Pajot with twin 60s. Of course, then the Neil has a single 110. Tankage is the Bally at 1,000 liters and 1,120 liters of fuel and fresh water. And then again down here at the bottom, these are the square footage areas. This is what I need you to poke your boat suppliers when you're buying to get this data out there, because we're buying a floating home and we need to know what's the internal area, what's the external area, what's the interior enclosed storage, what's the external locker storage, and what's the total fridge and freezer capacity. These are key elements we look at a real estate agent as if he fell off the earth if he didn't have them on the tip of his tongue. For a house, why don't we have them for our liveaboards? Now, hats off to Bali, because they really do have the space, but they did have available for me the exterior area. Somehow I missed putting it in this chart. Bless their hearts, they do have it. It's 1,300 square feet. Sorry, that's the external area is 1,300 square feet for the Bali. Looking at fridge capacity, again, a little bit limited here. I got it for Leopard, Fountaine Pajot, and Bali, and Bali has it with that ginormous, household refrigerator freezer they've got there. Okay, getting into the more technical detail here, looking at hull materials as far as overall quality, it's, I suppose, a point of debate, but the bottom line is the Portofino's aluminum. It dents, it doesn't puncture, under the same load as fiberglass does. So the Portofino, by a long shot, would be the most robust hull here. Everybody else is about the same. Nobody is using, in this group, is using a balsa core. They're all foam cores. They're all using polyester. They may have a vinyl ester external layer or a skiff of it, some kind of water-resistant coating to save the polyester from blistering. But generally speaking, these are polyester composite boats with a foam core and fiberglass, whereas the Portofino is aluminum. System voltages are all about the same. The ones that really stand out here would be the Neil with the maximum factory solar at a whopping 3,500 watts with that huge cabin top area that they've got to play with. Heading into performance indicators, sail area to displacement, or an indicator of power, it's the Neil at 31. Next up is the Bali at 23, followed by the Fountaine Pajot at 22.7, the Portofino at 22, and the Leopard at 21.5. Looking at displacement to hull length at the waterline, this is where the lowest number wins. It's the Neil again at 119.4, followed by the Bali at 134.9, then the Portofino at 135, the Fountaine Pajot at 136.3, and the Leopard at 172.3. Heading down into the KSP number, or what would be a comparable percentage of wind speed at 10 knots of wind. In the lead, it's the Neil at 87%, followed by a tie of the Fountaine Pajot and Bali at 73%, followed by the Portofino at 71% and the Leopard at 68%. Though the standout here, of course, being the Neil at a significant lead over the others. If you're enjoying the content, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button and then share the channel with a couple of friends and hit the like button. It's free and really helps the channel. You can also join our crew on Patreon, where you can enjoy ad-free viewing as well as downloads of the Excel specifications and PowerPoint layout comparisons, while helping the channel for a few dollars a month. You can find a link to the Naval Gazing at Camp David Patreon channel in the description below, where you can also click to receive our free ebook and information on some really cool virtual sailing training. And speaking of cool, my friends at catamaranShow.com have developed an amazing website and database of every catamaran available and scheduled to launch that allows you to do selectable in-depth comparisons of 4 cats at a time. They are also working on an incredible virtual tour and on-the-fly configurator that provides the option of fully immersive virtual reality with the appropriate 3D goggles. This is an incredible resource for anyone considering a catamaran purchase. Have a look by clicking the link in the description below. Hopping on board, what would Sylvia say? Well, it wouldn't take a lot to convince Sylvia on this one. Look at the aft here. This owner has put a staggering solar array on top of, the potential flexi solar that you can have embedded and integrated in this. So this is a rolling power plant. Beautiful hydraulic lift here, or electronic dinghy lift and swim platform. Beautiful wide sugar scoops for easy access off the dock. There's your access into your port side master cabin. This configuration is a dual maestro, I believe, with 4 cabins. Look at that beautiful cockpit, masses of space. I'd put some flexi-teak on the floor. This is the one problem I have with Fountaine Pajot. The underside of the bimini, it looks unfinished, and it doesn't look well done. I don't know why they're doing it. Let's have a little naval gazing here. Today we're looking at a bionic propeller inspired by a propeller innovation from the Technical University of Berlin. Big rep industrial designer Florian Schaefer developed a bionic propeller model that combined 2 key bionic research principles to make a conventional design more efficient. The propeller design has loop ends with no end part, based on the pinions of bird wings, which when splayed out enabled birds to glide with ease and low noise emission through the air. Furthermore, 6 ridges visible on the edge of each propeller blade are based on bumps along the fins of humpback whales. When the propeller is rotating, air travels faster through these ridges with less drag. This principle is the very thing that allows one of the largest mammals on Earth to move through water at seemingly incomprehensible speed. Considering its weight, is an aerodynamic principle that can be applied to wind turbines and propellers. The result is a propeller that reduces turbulence caused by air or in water cavitation. Tests with a computer vent designed in this way revealed 30% less noise emission, and tested as a ship propeller, it raises the thrust performance by around 19%. Like the Berlin-based researchers who developed the loop principle propeller, more and more teams of researchers are discovering and applying bionic principles that make conventional designs more efficient. Okay, back on board. We're in the cockpit having a gander about. There is access to that mid-bulkhead helm. And look at the openness here through into the galley. And the edges of everything, nicely rounded, beautifully done. Now, the materials, they're nice. But they tend to lose a bit when you, again, look up, because although you can't see it right here, the ceiling strikes me every time. Beautiful skylights, but seemingly unfinished in areas with exposed fiberglass, which drives me nuts, because as I look around here, not seeing the ceiling because of the way the camera is, everything looks great, but there's something about Fountaine Pajot and their love of exposed ceiling materials that just drives me nuts. You can see it there. It doesn't look as bad in the video, but when you get there, it really takes away from the elegance. And this is an elegant space. Look at that beautiful settee. Now we're going to head down. We're heading into the starboard hull here, looking forward first. You've got all square edges, which some love. I prefer a little bit more rounding. This is a lovely forward athwartship berth for your VIP guests, and then a very nice forward head there. You've got a TV that recesses into the hull side, so your guests are happily entertained, especially with Starlink now and all your movie access. But very elegant space, nice indirect lighting. Again, I'd love to see a little rounding to the corners here. It would add some elegance to this. Here, moving into the aft VIP cabin, you got a very nice head, separate toilet room, separate shower, so it's a full dry head, very ample counter space and sink area, very elegant. Glass door into your shower. Lovely aft 3-sided walk around with a tiny little settee there. Man, what an elegant space. And you can just wander out onto the aft cockpit. Lovely hidden indirect lighting at each step there. I mean, what an inviting space. And when you consider the KSP on this vessel, the amount of space you're looking at here really is exciting. Just imagine you're able to just wander up there and go out into the aft cockpit and not even see anybody on the inside. But look at the space you have for storage here. Really quite spectacular. I prefer, a darker wood. I wish that the folks at Fountaine Pajot would wander across the alley over to the folks at Nautical and grab their interior guys, because Nautical does a beautiful job with their veneers. I mean, again, this looks nice on the camera, but it does lack a little something when you're here live. The layout is second to none. Absolutely spectacular. Very innovative, very plush, feels very luxurious as far as a space layout goes. They don't have a forward-facing nav, but again, in my opinion, you don't really need it with the technology we have today. We're heading down into the other hull here. Again, it is a mirror image of the one we saw. I believe this is called the Dual Maestro. So you have a full three-sided aft VIP, beautiful single large sink with a large counter, separate head room, and separate dry shower stall with a glass door. Really, really beautifully done. The rounding, I'd love to see a little more rounding to the edges. It gives a sense of quality, but I love the settee there. I know some may say it's a waste of space, but perception's reality. It gives you a sense of luxury. I, as well, like sitting down to put my shoes and socks on, so I really do appreciate it. And this access area, all that counter space, the beautiful bookshelves, and imagine the level of ventilation you can have here with that aft door open. You've also got ventilation in the ceiling. In the hulls, the ceilings are finished beautifully. It's just up in the aft cockpit in the main saloon that I don't know what they're doing, but if I bought this boat, I'd have to fix that somehow. But we can all be picky. Look at the sunlight that pours in here. Look how luxurious and inviting that space looks. And bless their hearts, they put a table there in front of that settee that can be turned into a real coffee table, as opposed to always being stuck as a ginormous dining room table, which you hardly ever use because you're out in the aft cockpit. Nice access both from aft and the cockpit itself to the mid-level helm. And the helm is laid out very nicely. You have a separate space that if you do have two people managing the winches, one person can manage it with the nice line bags there without disturbing the captain. And the captain is seconded into a beautiful, comfortable seat. And also it feels very safe because there's an armrest on your right hand that saves you from falling out the side there. Up top here, beautiful, massive settee. Love the fly lounges. Love the sunbeds there. I know people argue about it, but I think it's spectacular. You also can get a very nice rigid bimini for the helm, which I would elect to have. But really comfortable space, really nicely done. Just take another look up here without folks sitting in there, but you can see how nicely laid out this is and how safe it is for the captain standing at the helm. All of your lines run back here, and of course you can option this out with all power winches. And I was watching Igor on his review of the Leopard 50 today. He'd be happy to see that they're actual buttons on the top there instead of foot buttons for the electric winches. But I mean, great visibility everywhere you're looking. Great communication with the fly lounge, great communication with the saloon and the cockpit, and massive tail bags there. Just, fantastic. Keep the spaghetti out of the way. Real nice safety rails along the full cabin top there. All recessed hatches, so no tripping hazards. Beautiful little touch of teak here on the front princess seats. Love it. And a touch of teak here in the faux front cockpit with the ratchet up backs there. They can ratchet up, they go down. You got speakers, you got access. One thing I do wish they would do is put some high polish varnish and marine grade varnish onto the teak, both on the seats, on the tables, everywhere on these vessels. The teak looks so ratty after such a short period of time, but comes up so staggeringly spectacular with varnish on it. So that's something that I would do immediately, as well as put flexi teak. Look at the size of this aft settee, beautiful built-in barbecue. Again, wonderful access to your aft cabins and that fantastic, wonderful aft dinghy lift and swim platform. Okay, moving into the pre-owned comparables. What do we compare this to? First up, we are looking at something a little different. From the recently defunct Discovery Group out of the UK, they did, before they went bankrupt, build a catamaran. Bless their hearts. I don't know why more of the top-end, wonderful UK builders and builders in the Netherlands don't start a catamaran line. Please, Oyster, please, Contest, start a catamaran line. Because when Discovery did it here, they built a absolute beauty. So this is the Discovery Blue Water, a 53-foot beauty from 2020. And that's so we're looking at a 3-year-old boat, almost 4 now. They're asking 1.748. Versus 1.718. Again, that's sail away for our Fountaine Pajot Aura 51. It's base plus 50%, and that works out almost to the penny every time. So 1.7 for a new Aura 51 versus 1.7 for a 4-year-old Discovery Blue Water. Wow, that would be a very difficult choice. I probably would lean toward the Discovery, just in that I know the robustness of that vessel and the level of finish quality. It's really hard to beat. Next up, we are looking at a true comparable, a 2022 Lagoon 52F. Again, this one has full walk-around 3-sided access berth. And we're looking at a 1-year-old boat here. They're asking 1.5 versus 1.7 for the new FP. I would find the 200 and I'd go with the new FP. It's a much better performing boat, and the modern layout of the FP, the 52's looking dated these days. Next up, 2021 Leopard 50. So 2-year-old boat. 50 foot. I really love this boat. They're asking 1.325 versus 1.7. You probably got a few toys on here as well, depending on condition. I would probably go with the Leopard on this one. Okay, monohull heresy. What do we have to compare this to? In the monohull side, as always, we add 20% to the length to get equivalent living space. This vessel, this particular vessel here, this 2021 Jeanneau 64, was a real surprise, because I've always thought, why in the 60s and the 64s don't more people spec them with a dual master layout? Their forward and their aft masters are so gorgeous, and this is the first one I've seen with it. This is my dream Jeanneau 60. Dual master, in teak, absolutely gorgeous. The only thing I'd add to it would be a hardtop. They're asking 1.695 versus 1.7 for the FP, so it's the same price. Wow. If I could get Sylvia to tolerate the healing, I'd probably do the 64. It's just so warm and elegant inside this vessel. Next up is a 2019 Beneteau Oceanus Yacht 62. Very nice vessel. It could come with the hardtop. They're asking 1.159 for this. I'm not a fan of the forward master in this, or the split main area layout with a saloon on one side and galley on the other. I would find the 600 grand and I'd do the FP. Finally, we're looking at a 2022 Jeanneau Yacht 60, full hardtop, the whole shebang. Really do love this boat. They're asking 1.5 versus 1.7. But, you know, for the 200 grand, Sylvia would be happy on the FP. I'd do the FP. Okay, the Dave score. How did she do? Well, let's go down the list. We've done a lot of yes. Oh, there she is, about halfway down. So she did okay. So looking at the numbers here, Elegance on the interior, an 8 out of 10, which is pretty darn good in spite of that the ceiling. Exterior elegance, a 7, very nicely done. Interior comfort, an 8, really comfortable boat on the inside, missing the forward access to the cockpit, but other than that, it's got all the things you want. Exterior comfort, 7. Quality, a 7. Performance, a 7. Lazy Sailor, a 7. Condo, an 8. This really, you know, especially for a 50-foot boat, it really hits the condo element. Geek, a 7. It's got some great features to it. And value for the money, a 7, bringing us to a solid 73 points in the company of the Leopard, the Jeanneau 65, the Jeanneau 60, the Exquisite, XS, X5 Plus. Yeah, no, that's about where she belongs, at least for my applications. For our Art of the Region this week, we're looking at my favorite guy in the whole world, Vincent van Gogh, as my Dutch friends would call it, Starry Night over the Rhone, or its real name, which is actually just Starry Night, as opposed to what I assumed. So Starry Night, commonly known as Starry Night over the Rhone, is one of Vincent van Gogh's paintings of Arles at night. It was painted on the bank of the Rhone that was only a 1 or 2 minute walk from the Yellow House on the Place Lamartine, which Van Gogh was renting at the time. The night sky and the effects of light at night provide the subject for some of Van Gogh's more famous paintings, including Café Terrace at Night, painted earlier the same month, and the June 1889 canvas from Saint-Remy, The Starry Night. The view is from the quay on the east side of the Rhone into the knee of the river towards the western shore. Coming down from the north, the Rhone turns to the right at this point to surround the rocks on which Arles is built. From the towers of St. Julien and St. Trophime at the left, the spectator follows the east bank up to the iron bridge connecting Arles to the suburb of Trinquetel on the right west bank. Starry Night, which is now in the Musée d'Orsay in Paris, was first exhibited in 1889 at Paris's annual exhibition at the Société des Artistes Indépendants. It was shown together with Van Gogh's Irises, which was added by Vincent's brother Theo, although Vincent had proposed including one of his paintings from the public gardens in Arles. Well, that's our Waves, Wine, Art, and Ideas for another week. I do hope you've enjoyed it. I've waited a long time to get on this boat, and it did not disappoint. So, Kristen and hubby, keep the crumbs out of the bed this morning, and come back next week for another great visit. We'll talk to you then. Cheers.